You're about to take a deep dive into one of the biggest true crime cases in the universe, or at least on our part of the planet. From the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.
All right, so you want to jump into this Bryan Kohberger case.
Let's do it.
You sent us some articles, one from East Idaho News and then another one from the Daily Mail.
Right.
And it seems like things are getting even more complex.
Yeah.
This case has obviously, with the brutal murders of these 4 University of Idaho students last November, has gripped the nation.
It has.
And every new detail just adds another layer to the narrative.
It's one of those cases that digs into the very core of our justice system, you know?
Right.
The sheer brutality of the crime. I mean, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, all stabbed to death in their off-campus house.
That's awful.
It's understandably ignited strong emotions right across the country.
And those emotions might be playing a part in this latest development, which is that the trial's been moved.
Right.
And we're not talking about like a quick trip across town or anything.
Right.
This is a 300-mile move from Latah County, where the murders happened, to Ada County, where the state capital, Boise, is located.
Interesting. So this move directly relates to Kohberger's lawyer's argument that you're not going to find an impartial jury in Latah County.
Right.
It's going to be almost impossible.
Wow.
And it makes you think about the impact of pretrial publicity.
Yeah.
Especially in the age of instant news and social media.
Sure.
Has the community been so saturated with details, opinions, speculation that it'd be impossible to find jurors who could approach the case with a completely open mind?
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
It's a crucial question because at the heart of our legal system, right, is this fundamental right, the right to a fair trial. And that's enshrined in the Sixth Amendment, and it applies to everyone regardless of the accusations against them.
Right.
But guaranteeing that fairness, especially in a case that's garnered so much attention, is a significant challenge.
Well, this is where legal strategy comes into play because this venue change could be a strategic maneuver by the defense.
Interesting.
It's a way to potentially level the playing field.
Right. By
moving the trial to a location geographically and perhaps even emotionally removed from the crime.
Yeah.
They might be hoping to find jurors less likely to be influenced by, pre-existing opinions or biases.
Now, speaking of potential biases, the Daily Mail article that you sent includes a new mugshot of Kohberger.
Okay.
And it's sparking a lot of conversation.
Interesting.
They describe him as having an unkempt beard and bloodshot eyes.
Right.
Now, I know we're not supposed to judge appearances, but
the reality is appearances often do influence our perceptions.
Yeah.
Even if subconsciously there's a whole body of research in psychology and behavioral science dedicated to understanding how visual cues impact our judgments.
Oh, wow.
And the courtroom is no exception.
Yeah.
Jurors, like all of us, are susceptible to these very subtle influences.
It's fascinating, really, isn't it? Yeah. We're hardwired to look for visual cues to try and glean information about a person's character or state of mind from their appearance. And a case like this, where the stakes are so high, every detail, every photograph, every glimpse into the defendant's demeanor takes on this added layer of significance.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that, while the legal system strives for objectivity, human perception is always a factor.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're constantly processing, often unconsciously, visual information.
Yeah.
And forming judgments based on what we see.
Right.
And in a courtroom, where the stakes are incredibly high.
Absolutely.
Those judgments can have profound consequences.
And on that note, there's another detail from this East Idaho News article that caught my eye.
Okay.
The possibility of the trial being delayed.
Right.
The original date was set for June 2025, but now that's up in the air.
Okay.
In a case like this, a delay could mean so much.
It could.
Right.
Yeah, a trial delay sets off a wave of speculation.
Sure.
It's like a chess match.
Yeah.
With both sides carefully strategizing their moves.
Yep.
The defense might be seeking more time to build their case, potentially pursuing legal avenues to challenge evidence or uncover new information that could cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative.
So you, listening at home, this isn't just a procedural detail.
Yeah.
It's a potential game changer.
Yeah.
What is the defense hoping to achieve with this delay?
Right.
Are they trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case, or are they playing for time hoping that public interest might wane?
Well, and it's worth noting,
Yeah.
delays aren't always initiated by the defense.
Oh, that's true.
The prosecution might also request a postponement,
Right.
Perhaps because they need more time to gather evidence, wait for crucial forensic analysis, or even secure witness testimonies.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's easy to get, caught up in the defense's strategy, but the prosecution's obviously operating within this complex legal framework as well.
Absolutely.
They have the burden of proof.
They do.
And they're tasked with building a case that's airtight.
And that burden of proof is especially heavy when you're talking about a potential death penalty case,
right.
as this one could be.
Yeah.
So the prosecution needs to be meticulous in their approach, ensuring that every piece of evidence, every witness testimony aligns with their narrative and meets the legal standards for conviction.
It's such a high-stakes game, for sure.
It is.
And amidst all of these, moving pieces, the venue change, the mugshot, the potential trial delay, there's this one constant that both articles highlight.
Okay.
And that is the prosecution team. They're staying on the case.
Wow.
Even with the move to Latah County.
Okay. That's a really significant detail, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
Okay.
The fact that these Latah County prosecutors are making that move to Latah County to continue their work on this case, I think that speaks volumes about their commitment.
For sure.
They've been immersed in this case from the very beginning, meticulously building their argument, and their decision to stay on could indicate a very strong belief in their ability to secure a conviction even with this change in venue.
It's almost like they're sending a message,
Yes.
We're here, we're prepared, and we're not backing down.
Right.
Despite the complexities and the challenges of this case.
Absolutely.
It's almost like they're sending a message.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're prepared, and we're not backing down. Despite the complexities and the challenges of this case.
Absolutely.
But even with their commitment, there's one element we can't ignore. One that adds a whole new layer of complexity to this already intricate puzzle.
Okay.
One of the articles you sent mentioned a book claiming that Kohberger had a specific target, that only one of those students was actually intended to be a victim.
Oh, wow.
That's a chilling thought.
It really makes you question the randomness of tragedy.
Yeah.
If this theory is true, could it be that 3 of the victims were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time?
That's intense.
How do you even begin to process that?
Right.
And from a legal perspective, it raises a whole new set of questions about intent and premeditation.
Because if only one murder was planned, how does that impact the other 3? Can the prosecution still argue for premeditation across the board, or does this introduce reasonable doubt?
Yeah.
It feels like we're stepping into a moral and legal gray area.
It's a gray area that the jury will have to navigate.
Yeah.
The prosecution will likely try to establish a pattern of behavior, connecting the murders and arguing that even if there was one primary target, the other deaths were a direct result of that initial intent.
Interesting.
But the defense might counter by painting a picture of chaos, arguing that the events escalated beyond Kohberger's control.
That's an interesting strategy.
They might try to separate the initial act from the subsequent deaths, potentially leading to different charges for different victims.
So, as we grapple with these developments, we're left with a profound question.
Yeah.
Can justice truly be served in a case as complex and heartbreaking as this, where the lines between intent and outcome are blurred, and where the search for truth is complicated by human emotions, legal strategy, and the weight of irreplaceable loss?
It's a question that lingers long after the headlines fade and the courtroom lights dim.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that the pursuit of justice is rarely simple or straightforward, and that even in the face of unspeakable tragedy, the wheels of our legal system continue to turn, seeking answers and striving for resolution.
Right.
And sometimes the most we can hope for is that through this process, through the careful examination of evidence and the thoughtful deliberation of a jury, some measure of understanding, if not peace, can be found.
It's a lot to unpack, and we'll certainly be following this case closely as it unfolds. This deep dive has revealed just how much is at stake, both legally and emotionally, as the Kohberger case continues to captivate the nation. Thanks for diving deep with us.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows,
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.